Hello, everyone. Peter Dennis here. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce Barb Angelo. Barb is a hypnotherapist, and not only a hypnotherapist, but she trains hypnotherapy and or people to become hypnotherapists. She also is what she refers to as a soul alignment counselor. Now, I'm going to ask Barb in just a minute to expand upon her credentials and what she's bringing to us today. But Barb, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Good. Barb, I know I just mentioned a little about hypnotherapy and such about you, but could you expand on that and just tell us a little about your background, kind of where you grew up, went to school, jobs you've had, things like
Yeah.
that?
Grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey,
Mhm.
and typical kind of middle class suburban upbringing, born Catholic, and always had kind of a feeling when I was a kid that something special was going to happen. I was here for something special. Didn't know what that was. I always felt a little weird as a kid because I liked other things that kids didn't, but I knew how to fit in. That was one of my superpowers, how to blend in with everyone and make jokes and do that kind of thing. Um, and I was a person who followed my curiosity, not the typical check off the checklist of how you're supposed to live your life. And part of me really was angry because I thought it would be easier just to follow everyone, and I never could. And I
Mhm.
would think, why? What is this? So long story short, started really following a spiritual path, even though there wasn't the information that there is out there now. So I got what I could, went to the library, actually found some books,
Mhm.
found some workshops around here. So I did things like a shamanic journey, wasn't for me. Reiki, learned that, thought that was great. I did take, finally decided to become a certified hypnotist. I had read Brian Wise's Many Masters, Many Lives, and really was fascinated by past life regression. So I got the basic training, and then continued learning all kinds of things with using the subconscious mind, more the higher self. And lo and behold, one day in 2009, I had an amazing, a spiritual, not even a spiritual awakening. I don't even know what you would call it. It was so dramatic. And it left me reeling. But in those moments, I consciously was thinking, I've been waiting for this all my life. So
Mhm.
that was at 50 years old. It took a while to get there. I look back now, Peter, and realize at 30, no, it wouldn't have worked at 30. I needed to go through a lot and experience things and gradually open up to that. And I had never heard the word channeling. A person I knew, one friend, and my husband were the only people who knew what happened to me. And thank goodness for that one friend at the time, because she was there to support. I felt like she knew more than me. I'm glad now that I was rather naive about everything, so I didn't have any preconceived ideas of channeling or wanting to do it or trying to do it. It just happened. Then I had
Mhm.
to kind of catch up to it. What is this? Why? My biggest question was always, why me? I'm so flawed. I pictured you had to be this pious, holy, perfect person for these things to happen to. And what I'm realizing more now is the more people I meet is that's what it's all about, the ordinary person having these extraordinary experiences that I think we're all capable of tuning into or experiencing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I had a conversation with Jesus one time, channeled, of
just
course.
casually.
Yeah. And, I said, I think I should be on my knees or prostrate or something. And he said, no, no. He says, we're all branches of the same tree.
Yes.
So, he would support your point.
Yes.
This is for everybody,
Yes.
anybody.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that must have changed your life considerably once you became a channeler. Then what happened?
I didn't leave the house for 3 days. I was in, and for 6 months, I would say I was in a state of probably what you would call like spiritual bliss.
Mm.
And I remember going to Walmart and seeing somebody that was dressed outrageously inappropriately. And, in your head, you have a little snarky comment. You might think, like, oh my gosh. And I remember looking and nothing. And I said to myself, you used to be able to think something. What was it? What was it? There was nothing. There was nothing. There was no judgment. There was no snarkiness. There was just this. Oh, wow. Look at that beautiful soul. Oh, wow.
Mm.
And after 6 months, the outside world came in a little bit more. So then
Mhm.
that didn't go away completely. But I still look back at that and just am amazed by that. But it was a process, Peter, because there wasn't the information. I didn't know anyone who could say, "Oh, you're a channeler and this is what it is." I didn't know what ascended masters were. I only knew innocently that when I would channel and I would identify myself, or mediums or other people could see, that I needed to start believing it. So Jesus coming through and Michelangelo speaking. And part of me would say, "Oh, of course." The other part would say, "What? Come on. Am I making this up?" And I
Yeah,
would think, well, why? I didn't go in thinking this. I didn't dream it up. It just is coming through. So that's probably been the biggest struggle, is totally accepting it and understanding, no, this is the way the world works, not the way that
yeah,
we've been shown.
yeah, definitely. As you know, I deal with quite a few channelers, and they all go through that. Is it me? Is it them? Why
Yeah.
me?
Why me? Why me?
All these kind of things. Yeah, you mentioned judgment. Isn't that a big one?
It's a big one.
Yeah,
Ourselves is probably the worst, how we judge ourselves. I
yeah,
judge myself. I think most of my clients I work with, who are tend to be high level executives or entrepreneurs, still have that thought in their head. They don't
yeah,
share that. On the outside, they look completely confident, but they'll have that, either I'm not good enough, you're supposed to be doing more, people are going to find out who you really are. So all those judgments about our own selves and the others around us as well.
yeah. Jesus also told me that his number one teaching when he was on earth was self-love. He
Mhm.
said that got distorted along the way and it became love your neighbor, but he said you can't love your neighbor until you love yourself. And he gave me a kind of a prescription for steps we might take to enhance the love we have for ourselves. But that's another story. It's
I
in a
love
book.
that though. But I love, to me, it is the information that would come through me was very helpful, loving, and practical. And I think I had said this to you before. It's when I would describe it, I would say it's kind of like having the best parent you could imagine, Santa Claus and Jesus, or whoever you look towards, that is speaking to you in the most loving, direct, compassionate, but firm way. It's
Mhm.
not about flattering you. It's about saying you are special, you are loved, and you're also here for a reason.
Yeah,
And we're here to help you to move into that purpose and that reason. That's why we're whispering to you and nudging you in those directions. We want the best for you, and as a loving parent would, but we're also going to say, no, 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 no. Do you really want to do that?
Does everybody have these nudges and whisperings, do you think?
I do. They've told me that most of the world walks with their head and their eyes down.
Yeah.
And talk about practical. When I walk every day, and I heard, walk with your head up and see how different you feel. So when you're doing this and you're looking around at the birds and you're aware, you feel so much different. And I realize when I look down, I'm in worry and I'm ruminating or pondering something. Oh, I need to do this, or relaying what I did before. And when I'm like this, I'm fully in the moment and present.
Yeah. Yeah, I've taught a little of skating and I've taken ballroom dancing lessons. And, keep your eyes on the horizon. That gets your head up, that gets your posture right where it's supposed to be.
Right.
And your
Instead of
body.
looking at your feet and seeing if you're screwing up.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
no, feel it. And you'll find yourself moving in the right direction, right? The more that
Yeah,
you are
yeah,
feeling
the
that.
body responds. Yeah. Well, Barb, you channel a group, the, I guess, Eternal Beings of Light is the name they go by. And Kayla may be the individual in that collective who is the spokesperson. Have I got that right?
She is the first one that I heard in my ear directly outside of my head, where usually I would hear things in my head or just speak it. And I was in a deep state of meditation. I was seeing colors that I had never seen before. And I was questioning, wow, these colors are beautiful. And I heard very clearly, I'm Kayla, I'm your reader helper.
Mm.
And somebody had asked me to do readings, which I had never done before. And I was a little nervous, thinking, I don't even know what I'm doing. And then she followed with, the great ones are with you now.
Mm. Wow. Well, Barb, this would be a good time if you would to bring them in and I'll have a chat and see what offerings they might have for
Okay.
the audience who's watching today.
Okay,
Yeah,
gonna take a
go
couple
ahead.
of minutes.
Sure.
uh, Baltazar taught me this when I channeled with a group, a hand over the chest and a hand over the solar plexus. And he said to the group, align yourself, my friends. And when I tell my clients or anyone to do this, there's an immediate sense of comfort. You can feel the warmth of your hands. So
Yes.
I've been starting doing that, and I take a few deep breaths and it feels like, okay, this is how I'm setting the tone for everything.
Nice.
There is not a need for a long induction period or a long period before we begin to speak. We have been waiting for these moments the entire time that we've been here with this one.
When you say,
Encouraging.
oh, yeah, when you say we, is this the eternal beings of light?
Yes, we identify, it seems easier to identify as a name than individually, because individually we are labeling by just specific personalities of that particular person in human form as they have walked the earth, or the angelic form, and it tends to be labeled, and there are constraints on the label. To say the eternal beings of light is a much more general idea, is it not? Because you picture we as souls as being eternal, and the beings of light, which do explain the dimension or the goodness and the benevolence that is here, the light beings, the ones who are directly coming from the source, the God source, the ascended masters, the ones who have walked the earth and have been here as avatars, as some of them have been. Are they here reincarnated over and over, like the process that we know, or have they come for one lifetime? Many are here but one time in that form.
Mhm. Well, first, welcome and thank you very much for being here. Um, you probably know that I'm recording this and hoping to disseminate it to many people. Barb has mentioned to me the term Kayla. Is Kayla a member of your group and perhaps the spokesperson?
Kayla was the first introduction as far as a spokesperson. They have had lifetimes together, this one in physical form here on this earth plane, and in the dimensions where she learned, this one before she came here into this plane, how to communicate. So as we spoke with her, with Richard Sutphin at that time, at that moment in that session, that she is here and she has learned, and it's not an esoteric concept or idea of training to become this in this plane, because the vibration, the density of this planet is much different than what we are used to. So it's almost as if an astronaut has to practice and plan and understand the atmosphere before they were to travel to a certain place where the dimensions, the atmosphere, the energy is so much different. They need to be able to adjust the body, the mind, the soul, the blood, the cells, everything. So this one was there being able to do this kind of work because of that. Kayla is an aspect of her. They could call each other sisters in a way, a sister soul, but they have had lifetimes and they work separately as separate souls. She is the spokesperson, but there are also many now who are eager to step forward, not dozens and dozens, but 4 and 5. And this one was told that she would not be able to, maybe in this lifetime, channel each being that is here for her because of the vibration, needing again to adjust gradually to each one.
Mhm. Well, you're probably familiar with the sort of scheme that we use to identify levels of consciousness. We say that humans are in the third dimension of consciousness, moving through the fourth to the fifth. Where would you be in that structure?
There are some that are working with this one from the 11th dimension, something that scientifically was newly discovered. It is something that we have, the God light, the God source, what some may call other beings that are not of the human form also reside. We are a collective within a collective of those beings, those ones who are there in that dimension. Not all of them are. They are the ones that will not be able to be channeled by this one, but they are here. Picture them kind of hovering and kind of keeping an eye on things.
Mhm. Well, as you probably know, most channelers begin by asking questions about why me and that sort of thing. Can you shed a little light on that question for Barb? Why Barb?
She knows this. She made an agreement. The first time she heard it, it was surprising, yet not surprising at the same time. And she recalls very vividly, even though that first evening, there were things that she could not recall because they come through in that moment, and the conscious mind has not yet been able to grasp or to download it. That moment was the truth of the remembrance of, now I know. Now I am recalling. I am recalling going through files and folders as if flipping pages. Where in the book did I read that before? So to understand that it was an agreement, and the ones who have the same experiences, for the most part, made the agreement as well. They volunteered. Out of 12, I'll go. I'll do it this time. What happens, though, is, of course, we know when we come into this world, there is amnesia of sorts, and there is forgotten memories. And then the worst is feeling utterly disconnected. Those who have agreed may feel more lonely than most others. They have a deep yearning, more so than others who don't understand why. Just snap out of it and live your life when there is a yearning and ache, almost as if there is a hole, something's missing. And then it comes, and then there is the remembrance, there is the joining instead of the separation, and that feels like home.
This agreement that Barb has had to be here at this time is for a purpose. I guess nothing is superfluous in the universe. What specifically are you here to assist Barb to do?
We are here to assist her so she may assist others in what you call the ascension process. The ascension meaning the lifting up of the vibration of this entire earth plane. Many, including this one, appear at times as if it is hopeless, as if it is filling a bucket with a hole. The more you put in, the more that comes out, but that is not the case. We know now, and the teachers, meaning the ordinary ones who are sharing these messages, of how important it is to maintain and to flourish in one's own energy, in one's own life, with emotion, belief, and physicality. And the physicality does not mean it has to be a perfect structure, but what is happening within the body, the wholesomeness, the health-wise, the energy, the chi that is moving through. And what happens, which seems as if it's a double-edged sword, is the ones who can have the low chi, the low energy, are the ones who are disconnected, the ones who are yearning the most, the ones who may feel hopeless and give up. Unfortunately, the ones who do give up and say, I am done now, and wish to leave, then there's that remembrance of, oh shit, I forgot. Give me another chance. Put me back in again, coach. Come on, come on. I screwed that one up. And that is when they say, but you do this all the time, remember? And there is the ones who say, I need to keep going. I want to give up, but I can't give up this time around.
That process of ascension, um, if the bucket appears to have a hole in it, I think you're saying it really doesn't. How's that process going? Is it unfolding? I don't know what the right word is. I would say successfully, but that implies that there's a precise plan sort of thing. And I know these things don't get set up quite that way. But could you describe a little about ascension
The
and how
bucket
this program?
metaphor of
Yeah, go ahead.
the bucket, the metaphor of the bucket is how many see. the idea of hopelessness, the idea of why bother, because if I put it in, it will just leave anyway. Why should I bother? The technology now that some oppose and some applaud is neither negative, positive, but it is for this time, for this reason, to be able to have more information around the world for other people to hear things they normally wouldn't hear. If you live in a tiny village and you are the only one, who around you can teach you, who can show you? What examples are there? The examples are twofold and threefold and fivefold and tenfold and 1,000-fold. And as this one knows now, it is happening more at a rapid rate of, there are those that are coming into this world now, many more who are the volunteers. The ones we least expected are coming in. It's almost as if they're sending in from all places, ones that are coming in now. Now, you may say that will take so long for these ones to grow up, for these ones to do all of that, but they are starting younger. They are starting already as they come out of the womb.
Yeah. When you're describing these light workers, way showers, star seeds, those kind of people, but you're also, I think, saying that artificial intelligence is here to assist in the ascension process as well. Am I correct?
It is merely a tool for communication, for knowledge. So for others to be able to, as you are doing, connect with someone around the world who may see what you are doing and say, oh, I've wondered about that. I have this feeling inside of me and no one to talk to. And maybe I now can get more information. And what happens then is the fear begins to fade. The confusion begins to become more clear. There's more clarity. Even if there is doubt, then at least they are not alone. And that is what it's doing. It is connecting people all over. Of course, we could say the opposite, the negative effects and blah, blah, blah. But focus only on the tool that can be used and the tools that can be used at this time right now.
Yeah. You mentioned the term coach, I think, as applied to beings that are being channeled these days. As a coach and looking at humanity in the ascension process, what suggestion would you have for humanity to accelerate that process?
Emotions, thoughts, beliefs, actions. You are only responsible for your own. To be able to clear, that is the most important thing right now. A clearing process is so necessary. A clearing of emotions, of old beliefs, past lives, as we talk about old things that are still clinging, they're still within the aura, that people do not understand what this is, to be able to clear these, for lack of a better term, negative energies, meaning it is causing, as we've told this one, static. And the more the population, the more denser from reincarnation, the buildup of static. There are ones that are wondering, is this me? Is this coming from me? When it is partly their input and partly the static that is all around them. There are also souls that are here that have crossed, but not completely, adding to the static. And there are a crop of workers and light workers who are just remembering who they are, saying, I think I'm here to help them. There are mediums who already do that, but there are others walking around in ordinary lives, not as mediums or psychics or healers, that are here to do that work. That is most important work. There are the ones who are confused. There are energies. Part of them, if this can be explained, part of them has gone. There's another part that stays because of the emotion, the feeling, the grief, the emotion of anger, of confusion, of whatever you want to call it, the charged emotion that keeps them here, the part that is here that needs to be dissolved, that needs to be transmuted. That is the clearing process that is necessary now because of the buildup of energies.
Okay, Coach. What steps do we take to do this clearing?
There are ones, as we said, who are here to do that work, to help others. You will be called in ordinary circumstances. There was a story the other day from this one, knowing somebody who was in the airport and a woman was being administered CPR and passed right then and there in the airport. The good thing is the woman who witnessed this had already been connected, already knew these things. She said to her father, pray, pray, pray. And he did. The soul, she felt, left the woman's body. And as this woman is walking to her plane, the soul came to her and thanked her for that and then left. These are the small, tiny things that we can do to literally help that soul make that very smooth transition without lingering. For her elderly sister was the one who was there. Imagine the grief. Imagine the upsettedness that could have been stuck there with both of them. One not wanting to leave because there is a loved one begging them to stay, and the other one who is so grief-stricken that her energy now has become part of that whole space. But to be able to say, thank you, I can leave now. Thank you for your prayers. I know what I am to do now, and I can leave without feeling and leaving anything of myself behind. Because of course, many who are in the dying process stay, a part of them stays because they know that the ones around are saying, please don't leave me, don't leave me. And they feel responsible.
That's an example of somebody helping someone else. What can an individual do for themselves to start clearing out the static?
The static of your own thoughts, the static of your own internal desires, beliefs, judgments. Let's go back, circle back to the loving thyself. When you love, each one of us can love our own selves and tend to our own selves, every aspect of ourselves, the childlike that is still there, the shadow, as you would call it, that is there, instead of trying to rid them or stuff them down. Then we are walking, talking balls of parts that seem haphazard, as if sewn together and do not match. When we can then embrace and say, yes, I've experienced this. Yes, I am angry right now, but that is okay. That is a healthy emotion to dispel and release frustration and anger. That's when it dissipates. People are walking around tamping everything down. Antidepressants, though necessary for somebody who is on the verge of something harmful to themselves or others, but to be solely on them, to be able to neutralize these feelings are not doing anyone any good. At the time, they may seem as if they're leveling off, but to constantly be saying, now I feel better because I don't want to feel that anymore. When someone is depressed, it is because they need something, they are missing something. These are all the things that an individual, if they are not fully embracing and engaging and exploring and accepting those parts of themselves, they are walking around again like a ball of static themselves and not even knowing it because they don't want to feel it. It's as if it is evil and wrong to feel those things and be that person. Everybody wants to be on. Everybody wants to be perfect in a way, presenting themselves to the world as this perfect image of a human being. And if you are not, and you are flawed, you are broken, there is something wrong with you. No, you are human. You're living in this place that is dense, that is violent, that is hard to be able to navigate. Give yourself some credit. We've told this one many, many years ago. The guides that were working with her at the time said, Earth is shit. Earth is hard. You should congratulate yourselves. You have no idea. In this world, in the spirit world, we are cheering you on like the coach running for the touchdown, cheering, cheering, cheering. Yes, yes, go, go, go. The one who is running is not worried how they look, how they feel inside. They just know that they're going at full force. We are cheering you on in every single way. But when the head is down and the eyes are down and you don't even hear the cheering or the whispering, you feel as if you're going about it all on your own. And that can feel very, very lonely.
Yes, thank you for that. I'm wondering, as we are approaching the end of this, if there is a message, perhaps something I didn't ask, or something you would like to get across to humanity. Would there be any such thing at this time? And if so, please, let's have it.
You are not being punished. You are not being caused to suffer. Look within your own self. look at the soul that is here inhabiting your body, as the soul is experiencing to learn and to ascend, to progress, to grow. How is it growing? Do not think you are being punished, therefore you need to suffer. And then hang your head and say, earth is shit, earth is hard because we suffer. Why does God hate me? Because I am suffering. There are those who have had real suffering, meaning physical suffering, brutal things that were told them or inflicted upon them that did not suffer internally. And you know the ones that I speak of, the ones who at times wanted to give up, but know that I am bringing this suffering upon myself. The skin, the physicality, the actual pain is one thing, but the pain of suffering will crush even the strongest man. And it is self-inflicted. Do not think that God is here to cause your suffering. God is here because you chose to be here and you chose to learn. Think each day, what am I learning from this? How can I engage and help others and uplift them? Because to uplift others is to uplift your own spirit. And of course, we know that. We know that.
Well, beautiful message. Thank you very much for being here with us and for all the insights and wisdom you've imparted today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Barb, you just take your time and come on back when you're ready.
Yesterday, when I was talking to Erica, I used a term like a genie out of the bottle. And that's what I feel like they're saying, see, this is what we've been here all the time for. And it's not, again, like you shouldn't have been holding back, but this is what it was for. This is what it was for, to engage more fully, to be able to share things more fully. And I used to keep it to myself, or I have a lot of things written down over the years, or pull it out for special occasions, like the good china.
Yeah.
Instead of this is who I am all the time and it's always available. And I like that analogy. That's still them talking through me, but Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah. Barb, how do you feel when you're doing this? First of all, are you conscious of what is being transmitted, or are you a full trance channeler who doesn't have a clue what's going on?
I have not, and I never, when I read about Edgar Casey, who was a full trance channel, even in the beginning, my ego would say, like, well, what if they say something that's, working with a client, they say something like, you're going to die of cancer. And I think, what if that just comes out? So I think the more, though, that the trust I've built up is to allow myself to kind of step aside. I feel like they come into my field. They don't come into my body, but the energy is so strong that it does affect. I feel my energy moving. I know I'm aware that my eyes are kind of twitching, and that doesn't always happen. I think they were really excited. That's why it was happening. But I get as the words are being said, I'm listening and going, oh, yeah, I know what you mean. And I get a bigger picture. So when I work with clients and I channel, then I'll say, now let's discuss more what they meant by that. And I don't remember a lot. But when my client says, when you mentioned the dimensions, I'll say, oh, okay. Yeah. Let's go back to that. But I usually don't have a lot of recollection, but it's there. So I'm fully in the moment and kind of listening as it's happening.
Good. Good. Well, Barb, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
My website is Barb Angelo, easy, barbangelo.com. I'm just starting a podcast. It's not out yet. And my Instagram is Soul Smacked with Barb. Is my Instagram.
Very good. Well, Barb, thank you very much for being here and bringing in the eternal beings of light. And I would say to the audience, thank you for tuning in. We hope this goes far and wide.
Yep, that's what it's there for.
Good.
It was a pleasure.
Well, Barb, many blessings and bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.